Hello and welcome. I'm Enigmius, and this is episode 22 of the Ultimate Feed the Beast Reloaded. Today, I think this might be the last infrastructure episode before we start on at least some construction for the Mega Turtle. That's kind of exciting. We're back here in my Thaumaturgy lab. I've added some alembics to my crucibles, so I've got 3 now, which is pretty handy. I'm getting kind of a collection of the little glass files with the different essentia in them. And the nice thing about it is it's individual types of essentia, and they're all 8 quantities, so it's much easier if you've got it on hand to set it all up when you're making a recipe, because Lord knows I've been making enough. That's really all I've done here, because it's really all I've wanted to do here. Apparently tallow golems will manage the collection of essentia from alembics, but so far as I can tell, you would need a golem for each alembic. I'm just not interested in making that many tallow golems or trying to maneuver around this place with that many golems running around. But that's neither here nor there. If you remember in the last episode, we did a test with the Arcane boar. It worked. It didn't seem to draw that much power, but we found out that the tooling was going to be something of an issue. The pick, we were only using a cobblestone pick. I knew it wasn't going to last a long time, but it demonstrated how quickly the durability gets consumed on the pick that's used in the boar, and also the wand itself was depleting charge. It wasn't necessarily fast, but we knew at some point that was going to bottom out as well. The nice thing about the boar is that it won't actually destroy the tool. It'll just run until it's at basically 0 durability, and then it'll stop. So what we need is repair and charge enchants, repair for the pick, and charge for the wand, so that these things can kind of, rebuild themselves, so to speak, in the field. We don't have to worry about replacing them or manually doing anything to them. It's a sustainability thing. It's a low maintenance thing. As much as possible, I want to be able to just set this thing in the field and then just dork around with it without having to invest a ton more resources into it. That's kind of important to me. So with that in mind, I had to set up a way to get some experience to do the enchants. Keep in mind, I didn't really play vanilla Minecraft. I started playing Minecraft with Tekkit. I played vanilla Minecraft for like 4 hours, and I was like, I'm gonna try Tekkit, otherwise I'm not playing this game anymore. It's the truth. I'm not saying anything except for what happened. So I haven't really worked with enchants. You can see up there, I've got my floating enchanting workshop. But I knew from the sounds of things that I was going to need a lot of experience to get this enchanting thing done. So that's what I did. I made this experience grinder, which is off right now. So while it's off, we're going to start from the bottom up and we're going to look at it. These are my little iron golems. They all have the visor and iron plating upgrades, so they've got better armor, and they also, when they kill a monster, the monster drops experience orbs. Apparently, according to the description on the visor in the wiki, if they didn't have the visor, the things they killed wouldn't drop experience orbs. So we've got 8 down here. You can see one is... There's always at least one stuck in that jar over there. And then these are Mine Factory Reloaded conveyor belts, and they're in kind of a wonky pattern. The reason for this is because when the experience orbs are dropping, I want to make sure they get a chance to go around here to the brain in a jar. All the brains in jars down there that you see. We're going to take a look at those momentarily. But I want to make sure the experience orbs get a chance to go to them. And then eventually everything filters down to... Oh, see, there's orbs in this transposer already. If all of these things are full, which apparently they were for a little while, the orbs will wind up in this transposer down here. Otherwise, this transposer gathers up all the arrows and the bows and the bones and whatever. The crap that skeletons like to drop like crazy, and it scoots them down underneath, which we'll show you that as well. When I started building this, you can see I started from the bottom up. I made the floor platform, and then I started building up walls, and I realized it wasn't big enough. So rather than starting over, I just decided to flare it out. You can see that's why there's a ledge around here, and then use pistons to knock any skeletons that happen to land on that ledge down into here. So that's why these pistons are going, and these cobblestone blocks are here to help manage the corners with this sticky piston eventually they will knock skeletons out of the corners as well. And the weather forecast is calling for skeletal rain. You can see they're falling in. Now the pistons aren't perfect. You can see this little bugger right on the edge there, and the pistons have whacked him 3 or 4 times now, and he's still on there. Eventually he will get knocked down. It's not 100% reliable. And you can see the little golems are going to war. They're doing exactly what it is I wanted them to do. And this goes, basically, this is a tier 5 soul spawner, skeleton spawner with the soul shard and the soul cage. And this guy keeps shooting me. It's pissing me off. Look at all the arrows in the roof now. Basically, the nice thing about the tier 5 spawners is that they will respond to a redstone signal. When they aren't receiving a signal, they just work, as you see. They drop a fairly high rate of skeletons wherever. In this case, it's into the grinder. If you give them a redstone signal, they stop, which is very, very cool. Because making these golems, it's not expensive and it's not necessarily hard. But when you're trying to make them in quantity, it's a little on the tedious side, because you have to make the control core, and then upgrade the control core, and then you make the golem, and then you make the visor, and then you make the iron plating. And remember, this is Thaumcraft, so it's not just combining things in a crafting grid, it's also working out the essentia that you need and feeding it into the crucibles and all that other stuff. So, once I had them made, what I didn't want to do was get so greedy with the experience that they were dying to attrition. They were just fighting for so long that little half heart of damage they take every once in a while kind of adds up over time until they start dropping like flies. So I put a really, really simple timer on here. This is a toggle latch. We've looked at toggle latches before. And a timer. And this lever here is sort of like my manual cutoff if I want to stop or start things on my own. But the timer is set for 2.5 minute cycles. So it'll go for 2.5 minutes while skeletons are dropping, and then it'll flip the toggle latch. The skeletons will stop for 2.5 minutes, and then it'll flip it again, and they start for 2.5, on and on and on. I could have done a slightly more elaborate system where they drop for, say, 3 or 4 minutes, and then stop for a minute, get more, bang for my buck. But at the time, I just wanted to get it in place and up and running. I haven't lost any golems since, so it's, it's working well. And the whole idea, of course, is we come down here. I want to see if, see they're flashing green. That means that they're regenerating health. And they're basically, they're still regenerating. And the skeletons have been stopped for, 15, 20 seconds. So I'm happy with the outcome with the timer system, the way it's working. But these are the star of the show, the brains in jars. Now, these guys will hold up to 30 levels worth of experience when they're full. And there's no way of knowing just by looking at them that they're full. But the fun thing, the thing that I like about them is that you can gather the experience that's stored in them by holding down right click. And you basically just punch them and all of the experience orbs come flopping out. And then you can stop, like I just did. You see I just hit level 30 and I stopped. So that I can go enchant a book and see what I get without wasting the experience that's here. There's a lot less experience required to go from level 1 to 30 than it is to go from, say, level 30 to 40. Actually, let me put it a different way. It takes about the same amount of experience to go from level 1 to 32 as it is to go from 32 to 39, roughly. So once we hit 30, we don't want to keep jamming the experience because it doesn't translate as well as we want it to. So now, the only other thing that I wanted to point out, just because if you're looking at this the way I am and you're kind of learning on the fly, all this stuff put together, I want to make sure that you're clear what it is that you're getting into, because this was fun. This, setting it up, learning about it, making it work, this was fun. The enchanting sucks, and I'm just going to be honest about that, because it's totally random, and if it weren't for this setup with the brains in jars, saving me an enormous amount of time trying to farm that experience myself, this would be fully impossible. So, I did some research, and all of the research said that the symbols that you get when you go to enchant anything mean absolutely nothing meaningful. There's the Commander Keen Galactic Code whatever thing, and you can get the different words and stuff, but then you string the words together into phrases, it still doesn't translate into anything meaningful. They're not even riddle phrases. I'll tell you how I tested this. I recorded a video every time I had enough experience to enchant a book, a level 30 book, I would record it, and I would start recording here, and I would click on the enchant, and then I would see what I got, and then I would stop recording, and I would rename the video file the name of the enchant that I got, in this case Haste 2. After a short while, I would start getting duplicates, and it was Protection 3 that I got. I ended up with 3 Protection 3 enchants, and then I could go back and review the videos and see what symbols I had in the box when I clicked on it that gave me the Protection 3, and all 3 of them were completely different. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if there's this elaborate code of different words that mean the thing and the stuff. Useless information. So it's trust to luck and hope you get the enchants that you need. In this case, the enchant that I'm really going for is charging and repair. Now you can see I've got repair 2 on here, which I believe is the highest. Charging, I think, also has a level 2 that I haven't seen yet. These are the most rare enchants for me to get. Efficiency 5, don't see a lot. Fortune I see fairly regularly. Potency I see fairly regularly. It's going to take a long time to get all the picks and wands enchanted with even just charging and repair, so that the wands will recharge in the field, the picks will repair themselves in the field, and I don't have to worry about replacing them every once in a while because they're worn out. That's the goal. I do not like this random BS system because you can see I've got these 2 books here that are good for Essentia compared to the cost of the book, but not the experience that went into making them. And they tend to take up a lot of space when you start getting chests full of them. Like this is starting to get, I've got a large wooden chest up in my main sort of storage area that's practically full of them. It's just a time-consuming sort of randomized good luck. Fortunately, when these are full, I think there's something like 27 of these brains in jars that I can go around, and each one gives me enough experience when they're full to try my luck. So I just leave this thing going, and I come by every once in a while, and I enchant a few books, and hopefully I get what I need. And I've got enough, at least, to run another test. You can see a little hint at what I've already done there. You saw in the last episode this same sort of readout. The width was 5, the speed was +0, other properties was just blank. But now that we've got a wand with enchants, we can put this in and see what it says about things. Potency 3 and charging 1. The charging 1 is just related to the wand. It doesn't do anything for here, but you can see it increased the width by 6. So now instead of a width of 5, we've got a width of 11, and you see that over there in my little test bore. But that's not all. We've got the pickaxe of the core, which gives us speed +5 because we've got efficiency 5 on there. Fortune 3, which I haven't really seen any benefits from because we're actually up pretty high and there's not a whole lot to get benefits out of. And native clusters is actually one of the benefits of the pickaxe of the core itself that gives you a chance when you hit ore to get a native ore cluster. That basically when you smelt it gives you 2 ingots instead of just a regular cluster. Now there's all kinds of wisps down here. It's crazy. I actually do want that wispy essence thing. I butchered my aura in this area with this boar. I was messing around. I actually had to go into my creative world to do the other testing because I didn't want to ruin the aura anymore, because this thing just by itself sucks the aura like you would not believe. So you can see, compared to the last episode, this is considerably faster. It's getting ready to send a tweet. It's doing @ and then we'll see who it's going to send it to. Faster, larger, and it goes. So the thing that I'm trying to decide is, do I want to continue? You can see actually also in the lower left corner, the viz in the area. The aura is just about tanked already because it never quite recovered from my last adventure. Do I want to go all the way and have multiple bores on the vehicle doing this, working quickly and with a large circle? Or do I want some of this functionality but not all of it? Do I want the speed but not the size? Do I want the size but not the speed? I definitely, like I say, absolutely have to have the charging and the repair. So this is sort of the decision that I have to make, and a lot of it will depend on what I get out of the stupid enchanting books as I'm in the process of getting enough charging and repair enchants to get all of the picks and wands covered that we need. I have to keep watching out for wisps. But it's cool. I mean, it's definitely makes it seem a little bit more entertaining than just a tunnel bore. I don't know how many bores I'm going to have on each face of the Mega Turtle, but I expect it's going to look pretty badass when we finally get the thing up and running. And watch, it's going to power down momentarily here because we're almost out of Viz, which is actually not a bad thing because it's starting to convert the crystals, the crystal infused ores. There we go. Shutting down, waiting for more Viz. There we go. It's starting to convert the crystal clusters, infused ores, to dull infused ores, which is very important because I need those to make the capacitors that we'll be using to hopefully store up a little bit of extra Viz as we go along so that this thing will run a little bit longer. It makes... I was a little bit surprised at the way it digs. Like, I was expecting, like what you see from a mining cart or anything else. We sucked it dry. But I was expecting something a little bit more uniform, and this is obviously doing something with a little bit more math involved, a little bit more geometry. At the moment, it's having a hard time doing anything at all. But that's okay, because like I say, I kind of ruined my aura boring that just to test it out. And then we started again over here, and I haven't really done anything to help the aura out. So I think that's about as far as we're going to get. But with the charge and repair 2, we can take a look. Still seeing some durability loss on here. Not necessarily a bad thing. It will eventually top up if we leave it alone for long enough. And like I was saying, the bore won't break the wand or the pick. It will shut down when these things have basically, you know, look at me funny and I'll break durability remaining. But if that's the case, then that gives it a chance to do the repair thing, do the charge thing, get topped up, do whatever it needs to do. And we'll also be including recharge cycles in the operation of the turtle itself. So that'll be a programming issue with the RP2 computers that we'll be looking at once we've got the actual turtle itself built. So this guy, he's trying real hard, but I think he's about done. And the next episode, we're going to be taking a look at the revised drive unit. We made the big one because at the time we were going to be using force fields. That didn't work out. Now it makes sense to have something a little bit more compact. I already know exactly how it's going to go together. It's going to be a little bit elegant and definitely more aesthetically pleasing. And then we'll be getting into the construction of the turtle itself. So if you're looking forward to that and you want to be notified when that video is uploaded, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, the easiest way to be notified when I add new videos is to subscribe. So thanks for watching, guys, and take care.